Good morning. So, yesterday was kind of a tough day for Sherry. She's suffering through some depression, and it can be quite debilitating for her. So, I'm hoping, I went through a pretty big slump in like '07 when I was leaving my family. I just felt like I was broken, and I would make these really sad videos, really just kind of just what would be more appropriate for counseling. I thought maybe that I could reach people, but all it really did was make people depressed and concerned about me. So I understood what she was going through, and I think being, I don't want to say cooped up with me, but just spending a little too much time with me, and I'm very focused on work and things like that. It's a little much for her, and so I think she was feeling lonely, and she wanted to get out. She said she missed me going out to comedy, and she liked watching me perform, and also it's good to just kind of socialize with some of the comedians in the community. So last night after dinner we went to trevorskies.com, which is the Valley's best website dedicated to just kind of informing people about what open mics are available and things like that. And we found one. There was one at El Charro Hipster Bar, and Sherry got a little weird because she was like, that's hipster bar. I go, well, for me to go, I don't get intimidated like that. Like, I can go to a black bar, biker bar, I don't give a shit. For me, I thought it would be very entertaining to see, a bunch of suspenders and handlebar mustaches. But we got there, and I brought my notebook just in case, whatever. I didn't know how slow it was going to be. And sometimes I just like to write while I listen to other comedians just be terrible. And but last night there was something odd that happened. Most of the what's funny was the show started at 7, but the sign up was like 5:30. I had no idea that this was a highly desirable spot. And but it's downtown, and it's meant to cater to young people, and so I understood that. It was funny. There was a moment where we weren't really getting service, and I asked one of the servers, hey, can we get a menu? Like, don't you want us to give you money? And she just like pointed to the QR code on the table, and I was like, I get it. I'm like, I have a smartphone. I'm not that old. Like, I definitely, she definitely let me know that I was out of place. So, but everything was fine. Everybody was terrible for the most part. And then there was one comedian. I guess he tried to move to LA and tried to be successful. And I think he was on like an episode of People's Court that just sat in the audience. And I was like, that's fine, that's good for him. But Sherry noticed that he was trying to avoid me, and it was funny. A lot of the comedians there definitely noticed my presence, but that's the thing is I don't get any feedback from them, so I don't know what the big deal is. And but there was one comedian. He like 3 or 4 lines into his stand-up, he shouts, well, it's good not to be racist like Patrick Chandler. I'm Patrick Chandler, by the way. I know I don't talk about it a lot. Again, it's mostly about robot and doing that. So anyways, he calls me out and calls me a racist. And my first reaction was just to, do what we call the Clint Eastwood stare, which is that there's no expression. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of getting a rise out of me or having me erupt in violence or anything like that. And so I just kind of was curious to see where he was going with this, because it was not funny. It brought a real big calm to the room, very tense situation, and then he tried to make a couple lines about a 1,000-yard stare and things like that. And then all of a sudden he shifted the focus on Sherry. And I was like, oh, let's see where this goes, motherfucker. Of course, again, I'm just nothing. I'm not giving him the satisfaction of any reaction. And, he says something, terrible, like, I can't believe you're still with him, or something like that. And then Sherry says, she said that I was a great guy, which was great, because we've been working on, Sherry is very shy, and sometimes she doesn't stand up and do the right thing when she probably should. And there have been a couple of times where, again, it's not that I'm mean, it's just that I don't hand out sympathy. And when I do, it's genuine. Like, I'm sorry for your loss kind of things, but not just general sympathy. And I think that's one of the reasons why people don't like me in the comedy community here in Phoenix. Again, whatever, I don't care. So, and that's the other part, is that I don't care about their opinions, and that, I think, weirds them out, because they've been doing comedy longer than me and things like that. But, so anyways, he says the thing about Sherry, and then he changes the subject, and then just moves on. So, but, talking about last night. So anyways, he changes the subject, and the tension goes away, and it was just kind of weird. And I think we watched like 2 or 3 more comedians, and then we were like, okay, we're done. We get out of here, because it is a hipster bar. The only thing that was edible on the menu was some flan, and it was like rubber. It was not great, and it was $5. So, and I wrote some jokes, and I wrote a little bit of stand up, as if I was going up. Sometimes I like to put myself in a position, what if, and then which is what situational comedy is all about. So anyways, we finished up, and then we left, and there was one comedian that I saw. I didn't want to approach him while he was, with his peers, because again, I'm shunned. And so, but when he was in the parking lot, I wanted to reach out and let him know that, there were some kernels there, and I thought he was funny. He just needs to work on his delivery and things like that. And then I picked up Sherry, and then we drove home, and I was trying to examine, like, what was this comedian doing? Like, what was the whole purpose of calling me out, And, of course, if I just take it on face value, for some reason he has an axe to grind with me, which I'm fine with. Like, but talk to me about it. Like, why would you do that? And it created a weird situation for him, as the performer. He's supposed to be there to be funny. This was not funny. This got real serious real quick. And for me, I wasn't mad at all. I just was surprised. I was like, I don't understand this behavior. And I don't know why he would say that. If anything, I would just go on my surface looks. I give myself a bald fade. I'm large in stature, not that large. I'm like 6'1", 275. Again, I just think it's a reputation of something of not giving a shit, and also just not handing out sympathy the way that other people do. And so it's very, very needy, very codependent. And of course, I'm beyond that. I've been in recovery for a really long time, so I've been able to work past through all that stuff. So sometimes I think that can be intimidating for people. And instead of using their words and talking about their feelings, sometimes they act out and do things like this. So, but the thing that really got my goat about that situation was I felt like it was it got under my skin, not personally, but professionally, and also as a comedian. Like, one of the great things about being an artist is turning lemons into lemonade, is being creative. And so it was stuck in my brain. I was running simulation to figure out what I could say in order to either counterattack him, or how it would change the room. And I finally came up with a solution, which was great. So, there's a couple of variations, which was the one that came to me and was like, it gave me relief, which was where he calls me a racist, and then there's a tense moment of just silence, and then I stand up, point my finger at him, and yell, "I'm sorry, I fucked your mom, and she wanted to marry me, and she turned out to be a Negro prostitute, and that I didn't want to be your new dad," something like that. And of course, that way it caters to his premise, right? And basically this is just improv. And then I go up there and then, do a bow or something like that to let people off the hook. That would be the work of someone great. And that was not me last night. He took me by surprise, and not that I should be on my toes every time I go to a fucking open mic, but I just thought, that would have been really legendary if I'd pulled that off. So, and it gives me something to work towards. And I'm glad I have the insight to even imagine a scenario like that. What would have been also great if I didn't tell you guys, right? If I didn't let the cat out of the bag, and I had contacted him, and said, "Hey, let's do the same bit next week, and then I'll perform like that." See, that would have been great. However, this guy is a known turd, so he's obviously not. He doesn't have any integrity, and he has an axe to grind, so he's not trustworthy. So I would assume some sort of betrayal, or even just not follow through. That sometimes that's a tough thing to deal with people that you work with. So, and then the third level above that, or I guess the third solution that I saw, which was basically just writing down the scenario and then using it in a movie, and then playing out the scenario as if he and I planned it, something like that, and you put that scene in a movie. That would be interesting as well. So, but again, mostly the reason I tell you this is because, number one, it was like a weird anomaly, and but it says more about him and what he uses his time for, which is he's very self-destructive, and just surrounds himself with stuff that I don't want to be surrounded with. That's all. I don't want to have judgment on him, because that's his life, and he wants to live it the way that he wants to live. So, and I just don't have to be around that, or I can defend myself, and that's what is like I said, is the work of someone great that can turn that into something memorable and basically a win-win for everyone. So, but I wanted to share that, and I'm a little hungry, and my blood sugar's low, and I get a little weird, so I get a little dizzy, but I'm going to take care of that. But I think I just wanted to share that, and let you guys know that you can do the same things in your life. So, and it's very healthy for you to replay a scenario that was hurtful or disturbing, or and then try to come up with a new reality that creates a better solution. And the reason for that is so that you can learn, and you can do things different when you see this situation coming again. So, because I'm sure this is not the last situation that comedian or some of the other ones would do. And but the overall, I definitely shook Sherry out of her depression, and got her attention, so, which was great. And overall, I thought it was a bit of a compliment that I was able to cause quite a disturbance in the force. And for me, I take full responsibility that it was that I need to work on that. I need to work on how I disturb people, and how I disrupt, and again, not take it personal, but just mostly like I definitely want to be great and do great things, and it was just a good reminder that I'm on the right path, and that this is going to be fun, and it doesn't have to be a big struggle, and it doesn't have to be dramatic and things like that. So, but anyways, I love you guys. I'm heading to Chase's Diner, which I'll put a link to in the description. It's a great little diner, and they have this breakfast special that's fucking phenomenal. Pre-diabetes, I would eat it every day. But now we go there like maybe once a month. So, but I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.